Okay, Erin. Well, it's 6 o'clock and I'd love to be punctual. So I'm just going to get started and welcome everybody tonight to the SCORE workshop, The Power of the Inbox, Getting Started with Email Marketing. My name's Maureen Severson. I'm a volunteer with SCORE. I'll be here tonight to help, to host and to watch the chat box and monitor questions. But I wanted to let you know a little bit about SCORE. It's a nonprofit organization completely comprised of volunteers. It's national chapters around the country, and it's well over 50 years old. And we have two areas of focus. We do one-on-one mentoring, which is comprised of experienced professionals and executives that do the mentoring if you have a small business and you need some help with that, that we also do workshop programs and educational focus. So those two resources are enormous and so helpful, and it's all free to you. We're a partner with the Small Business Association, but there's lots of information on our website at PiedmontScore.org. So please feel free to seek anything there. Our subject matter expert tonight is Aaron, and I'm just going to pull up my bio on you. Aaron Means is a communication specialist. He's an internet marketer and the CEO of Activate Business Solutions that's based in Asheville. He is a constant contact master certified coach, maybe is what you call it, Aaron, and has won awards, including for Constant Contact Solution Provider of the Year in the Southeast. What is Activate? They are a company that's trained, helped, and worked with thousands of businesses through seminars, webinars, and conferences while delivering a full suite of custom internet marketing services and solutions for businesses and organizations of all shapes and sizes. We all get tons of email every day, so I'm sure we're going to learn so much tonight to how to be more effective. So welcome, Aaron, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Can you still hear me okay? Just making double sure.
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, thank you so much. And you had wanted to know what the official title was, and that would be head geek.
Geek.
head geek. So yeah, this is me. On the left here is how I used to look. On the top right is sort of the progression, the evolution of my mountain life. And I'm living over here in Brevard, tucked way down here in the corner of North Carolina. And I've been working in internet marketing for about a dozen years. I used to be up in the rat race in DC, and my family is from North Carolina, from Fayetteville. And my mom had retired all the way out here in the mountains, and her sister was out here, my aunt, and we had visited a whole bunch. And I think at one point they just said, "You're not allowed to visit anymore, just move." And so we came down here about 12 years ago, and just a little back to set the table for the topic tonight. It's really a trial by fire kind of an experience. Everything have happened backwards with this, with my company. I came down here, worked just as a solo direct sales online, and working for myself. And my wife had ejected from the office environment. She was working as a legal, and she had gone back to work with horses, and then gone to school and become a dog groomer, and was just, sort of really focused on animals and enjoying that. Well, she came down here, and we got here to Brevard, and I started in on her. I said, "Hey, start your own small business. Be an entrepreneur. Come on, you can call the shots. You can build it how you want." And eventually she said yes. And I thought I was just so smart until I made the connection that if she was doing all of her dog whispering magic, at the shop, who was going to do every other component of this small business? Well, it was genius over here who had the bright idea. So here I was going from corporate to then, very disconnected, only online, and then moving down here to a town of 5,000 people and opening a small business for the first time in my life without really thinking that through. So this afforded me an opportunity to just pull the bootstraps up and just engage. What does it mean to have a small business? What does it mean to market a small business? What does it mean to build a list. How do you build a following? How do you, and this was, you know, even right when social media was just barely breathing, just starting to be born. But email marketing was a big deal, and digital marketing and websites, you know, this was all just very front of mind with the small business community. And so I started going to my Chamber of Commerce meetings and my own local SCORE group and SBC connections. And guess what, y'all? I was going to, and I'm not kidding, Constant Contact trainings, because I wanted to know how to build a list and market properly as a small business myself. And the more of these topics I went to, the more everyone around me continued to seem more and more like they needed help. And that's really how I started my company, Activate. So that's it in a nutshell. And then over time, I started working with more and more businesses and teaching more. And Constant Contact, who you'll notice is the sponsor of tonight. And there will also be a demo of their product at the end. And I know SCORE uses Constant Contact to send out their communication. The reason for all of that is because there's a national partnership with the Constant Contact and SCORE. And it's focused on doing exactly what Maureen mentioned in the beginning, which is empowering you all at little to no cost to get into action and be supported and have the tools, the guidance, and the training you need to really build your business properly. Okay. So I want to make sure that anytime I teach these webinars that I give a proper framing of the internet, because after a number of years of doing these topics. Oh yeah, thank you for saying that. I totally got carried away and forgot to mention it, Maureen. You all, please do use the chat box. I absolutely love having the chat flowing during the presentation and all throughout it, and then even into the live demo and then into the end in the Q&A. If you don't know where that is, you can hover over your Zoom control panel and you'll find chat. If you don't see chat, you'll see more. Click on more instead, and then a little drop down will occur. And from that box, you can click chat. You'll see a white window pop up along the side. And this is where you can answer questions or ask questions or read your questions, read your comments. Please don't be shy. You know, there's no PowerPoint that is that good that after an hour or hour plus, you know, you're still feeling, you know, energized. So I want the key to this that makes it really fun is interactive. So please feel free to interject your questions and comments. All right, and I think I may need to reset that. Can you see my screen again, Maureen, my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. So just a quick note here to make sure that we understand the internet in general. Because after these topics for a few years, email, social, website marketing, all these different topics, it started to become clear that the internet was just really scary. It's scary and overwhelming, and it's loud and it's noisy, and it's always changing, and it's this game everyone's sort of stuck in. And the more I talk to businesses all over the Carolinas, to event after event and follow up after follow up, this common theme was, when overwhelmed, I don't know how to navigate marketing on the internet. Where should I be spending my time? Where? You know, we all, as small businesses, we all have a limited amount of time and resources. And so it's critical to understand whether you're using your time properly with your digital marketing. So to that end, let me sort of push a little bit of a reset button in your mind, if you'll allow me. And let's talk just a few minutes about what the actual internet options are for market business. And then we'll talk about why email marketing is so critical. Okay, first of all, the internet is really boiling down into 3 buckets. It might seem overly simplistic, but I do an 8-hour boot camp. For some of the 8 hours, we do a lot of whiteboard brainstorming. And I've taken as far as 30 minutes asking people to name everything they've seen on the internet, on their phone, on their iPad, on their computer. They all go into one of these 3 buckets. Can you believe it? Websites are obvious. Websites, landing pages. Mobile apps are just a different format of websites. Social media channels, well, we all know what those are. And email inboxes. As big, loud, crazy, and scary as this internet is, it's 3 buckets. Pretty wild if you think about that, because it takes a little bit of the sting and the confusion out of, you know, what am I really, where should I be, what are my bases I need to cover to make sure my business is properly represented on the internet, website, social, and email. All right, so given that these three are the buckets, the next question then logically becomes, well, if you want to be seen and engaged online, you would want to know, where do people spend most of their time? And then you'd go meet them there, right? Well, websites, social, and email. If you take the average, whoops, I pushed ahead. If you take the average person in our society, we're getting online in the first 1 to 2 hours of the day. And we're doing it most often on these mobile devices, these small phones, tablets, small mobile devices. We're not, you know, waiting around to get to the office and boot up the computer and all this sort of 90s way of doing things. We are in motion, and we're glancing and scanning and clicking around online very early in our day. So here's the question. When we get online, what does the average person look at? Well, they don't typically just load and reload the front page of a small business's website without a reason. So, you know, no one's surfing around the website saying, you know, while I'm trying to wake up and have my coffee, I'm just going to start floating among home pages of businesses I know. There has to be some sort of a relevance or reason that they would be driven to the site. So that's sort of more of an NA, like a not applicable for the moment. Now, the next one is social media. Are they looking at social media early in the day? Yes. Oh, yes. They're looking at social media, the average person, very often on their mobile device. And are they looking at email? They absolutely are looking at email. The average person is scanning and glancing through their email, you know, up to 5 times a day, even on a mobile device. So the third and final stop on this train of logic is, when they visit these channels, will they see your business's content? So out online, when they wake up and start fidgeting around on the internet, well, we know that they're not going to just randomly decide to go load and reload the front page of your website, you know, without relevance. So that's sort of an NA, you know, you kind of need a context, something to send them there. Social media, now here's the deal. Even though we know they are going to look at social media, here's the deal. It's actually not likely that our content will be seen. Now, I know that's a horrifying thing to hear someone say out loud, but I don't want to ever sugarcoat it for people, because social media is absolutely critical to your marketing, but too many people are hanging their hat on social media because it's you know, the next hot channel, the next hot trend, or I'm, you know, sort of playing in that catch-up mode of trying to do the next new thing. And meanwhile, these social media channels all run with algorithms that decide how many people get to see your stuff. Now, granted, there's ways to rank well. There's ways to get a good following. There's ways to teach these algorithms that your stuff is getting engagement and it should continue to be shown. That is a process that is ongoing. It is not fast, and it's an uphill battle for small businesses. So just want to put that out there without any sugarcoating. So even if you're posting on social media, and you should be, we just sort of have to come to the reality and get comfortable with that it's a loud, wild place, and these algorithms are in control, and you do the best you can with the best content to get your engagement, but we cannot hang our hat on social media. Now, the inbox, the email inbox, this is the point to my little mini topic here in the beginning, it's directly the opposite. You have a high probability of visibility. People are looking at their email multiple times a day, scanning and glancing through different devices in short bursts. And guess what? When you send an email through a trusted provider, just like Constant Contact, you would have a 90+% deliverability. 90%. Which is fun. It's funny enough is the statistic of how many people of your Facebook followers used to see your posts in the first few years. When they first came out with business pages, I remember we were all complaining our head off, and we didn't know what we had, because you'd get a following of 100 people and you put a post up and Facebook would show it to like 90 of them, 90%. And then over time, Facebook just became too big. It couldn't do that. So now, this 90% rate really applies to getting your email in their inbox. And Maureen and I were talking before we started, one of the spoiler alert, one of the topics tonight is how do you get the email opened? Because just getting in the inbox, 90%, that's great. But if they don't open the email, why does that matter, right? You want them to open it and engage it. So subject lines are critical to that. But this is just a funneling process that, we just have to come to a little bit of reality that, the internet is this simple. People are engaging it in certain bias on their mobile device. And as they're engaging it, the channels themselves create a certain logical bias, which means that if you're sort of waiting around for email marketing to become something you might do, you're actually leaving the biggest chip off the table. It's literally, the most visibility, the most deliverability, the most everything. Now, the key to all of this is that we also want to make sure that people enjoy the experience. Making sure that we understand what email marketing really is. It's about giving people value and staying connected and staying front of mind with them. It's not about selling and spamming people and sending tons of emails and beating them their door and setting all the wrong precedents. So this slide is kind of a nice segue as we get into explaining email before the demo that's going to happen in about 45 minutes from now. But understanding the sort of flow to a small business or a nonprofit and how email and social media can work for you. This is a really nice map, so to speak. So, you've got a prospect, you provide your typical superstar experience. And then right here would be an example of where they might join your email list. Maybe you're offering them a download, a discount, access to some good information, some VIP treatment. Sign up for our list, join our list, follow us on Instagram. You're enticing them to stay in touch. Now, right here is one of the critical things to take away from tonight. And by the way, I am going to send out over to Maureen and she can share with everybody the PowerPoint. Okay, so the PowerPoint can be shared. That way you don't have to worry about that you might miss some things. You'll have this to click back through, okay? So anyhow, one of the biggest takeaways here is that what you're sending in the email is critical to making email marketing work. Thinking in terms of your email and your social media strategy, that your actual goal is just to get them to engage you further. Not the sort of approach that's straight to sale, and looking at thousands of businesses and consulting with just hundreds of companies. I've seen just a nice sweeping view. So there's no surprises out there really for me at this point. And I can tell you the number one mistake, hands down, is that we get online and we start selling and we won't stop selling. And nobody wants to hear that. Your fans actually don't they kind of are a little bit weary of it. They might just ignore rather than be annoyed. But for the average person who's not yet a real sufficient prospect, who's about to be a real lead, we just want to leave a good impression and get them to engage us and continue to engage us. Now, the byproduct of that engagement is where the sales come from. It's where the donations to the nonprofit come from. So, diverting your attention away from this goal of sale or this goal of donation for the nonprofit and saying, okay, I just want my goal to really actually be getting them to open this, getting them to click it, getting them to engage it, getting them to jump on social media, getting them to engage me, starting and continuing a sort of ongoing front of mind conversation. And you can do this very easily without bothering people, without bugging them, because we do it in short, quick bursts. Now, what happens is, hey, they've become a customer, they've decided to follow you, they've connected with you, you've engaged them, and of course, they're going to become a repeat customer. But the beauty of things like email and social is that the people that they are connected to get pulled into the loop. when they're sharing your email, forwarding your email, posting it online, which some people don't know, you can actually share email online as updates. People can, go check it out and subscribe. Or on social media, people get updates. So-and-so, their friend and family is engaging with you, and it gives them little Facebook or Instagram updates. This allows people to get brought into the loop to become new prospects. But again, the reason why this doesn't happen is right here, we start selling immediately. We're just right all over the sale. So hopefully this sort of 15-minute kickoff, explained a little bit more about how simple the internet can be, and then what really the goal needs to be for your email and your social. The goal is obviously always going to be to grow your business, grow your nonprofit support. But if you kind of lower your gaze and you say, well, the goal is really just to connect authentically and provide value and create an impression with people that's positive, and then literally get the heck out of there. And you do this repeatedly in short, quick bursts, that's how you win. That's how you win. And I think it's way more than half of emails. Some of these slides are pretty outdated. I think my list, Cost to Contact, actually reports how many people open on desktop versus mobile. I think my list is opening at about 70% mobile right now. 91% of people check their email daily, and 88% check it regularly on their smartphones. 90% of emails get delivered. 2 to 5% of Facebook organic posts show up for a new page. And they have done studies on this. They have literally, because it's somewhat easy to track when you're doing campaigns and promotions and building certain lists, email does have 3 times the conversion rate. So for a $1 spent on email, a $44 average ROI. And the bottom of the slides that you'll receive have all these studies for you if you would like to go check them out. I believe the ROI can be way higher. That's an average ROI, which includes all in the study. But a lot of small businesses are service-based that I speak to, and maybe they're much higher ticket. They might make less sales, but their sales are in the hundreds or thousands of dollars. So spending $20 a month on an email database that you can reach out and touch and engage on a regular basis and draw leads from over the course of maybe a year. It's just super clear. Some success stories too are peppered in here along the way. Cotton Classic started out by sending emails featuring free tips on crafting with cotton, knitting, yarning type things. And boy, they got a lot of opens and engagements. And over time, they built sub lists. Another spoiler alert, you can segment your database into different lists. So, over time, they got people interested in sales and flash sales and discounts and lots of supplies in order to execute some of these tips they were giving out. And so Cotton Clouds grew their email marketing to a multi-segmented, multifaceted approach, some with content, some with sales. But you see, it was relevant because people were always opting in and choosing to be on these lists themselves. And now their new challenge is to, they have cracked the code on organizing their list into who are real purchasing prospects and getting them to buy. Now the new challenge is, well, how can we increase the purchase amount per cart? But maybe I should hold my horses here and take a breath and give you an actual explanation of what email marketing might be in a quote unquote digital marketing dictionary. Email marketing nowadays is about delivering visually excellent professional communication to an interested list of people, giving information the recipient finds valuable. And critically, we want to make sure it's looking good in any inbox. It's really important that your content is arranged well and in a friendly manner for people who are trying to look at this on a small miniature screen, while they're on the go in between one or two other things in their life that day. So if you take a look at the red words typically are the ones that we forget. Typically our default is, as a small business or a nonprofit, we have these benchmarks. So we want to deliver email to our list containing info we want them to know. And so we want to make sure that the real training behind the training for tonight is actually kind of a mindset shift to showing up in front of people on the internet and providing them with value and positive impressions. And so we want it to look good. We want them to be interested. We want the content to be geared toward them. And we want it to look great on their smart device and make sense. Let me take a little poll. How many of you all are have ever or are currently doing any sort of email marketing? Let's use the chat box. If you click more on your control panel and then chat, you'll see it open up, and Maureen and I have used that. Just type, change the little drop down to panelist and attendees so we can all talk together, and then go ahead and give me your answer. How many of you all have done or are doing, or in any way, shape, or form done any email? Okay, right on. Good. A whole cluster of you right off the bat. Anyone else? Okay, Anita, you have, but not super often and not recently. That counts. Got it. Anyone else? Okay. Yes, but not much. Got it. Thank you all. What kind of stuff have you sent or are you sending if you're doing it currently? What kinds of things are you putting in these emails? I'm so curious. Or if you're not now, what stuff have you sent in the past? Got it. Emails to promote events. Yeah, that's a big one. All right. Anyone else? Ooh, you're a travel agent. You share destinations and offers. Take me away, Luciana. Okay, I'm a gluten-free home care. Ooh, and you do upcoming sales? See, that's fun. I bet you do a lot of pictures, don't you? Pictures are really the key to everything, y'all. Pictures are the language of the internet. Images and video. I mean, obviously video because you hear audio, but the sort of language that we speak, we don't really read the internet anymore. We scan it. And we're looking for images to give us clues that we're interested in what the words say. It's reversed because of these mobile devices. Yep, Julie does do pictures. Okay, just newsletters. Yep. Okay, this is great. This is what I'm looking for. Newsletters, invites, pictures, recipes. I'll show you also some emails I get that I just absolutely love. But this slide is kind of just a little, even a starting point. So for those of you on tonight that maybe, you just cracking the book. I mean, this is fresh powder. I would say even just for purposes of branding and making people understand, the way that you're presenting your content with your colors, your logos, even just something like that would be, game changing for anyone that's still sort of stuck in the text email list mode, like the left panel there, sort of like this or this, right? Let me jump into some visuals here so that it's not all a whole bunch of explanation. Here's a perfect example on the right. that really dings off a number of things you can put in your tool belt for great emails. You know, so over on the left, Southside Cycling usually just send out this kind of stuff. And then over on the right, over on the right, you've got an email example it's driven by a handful of best practices. Number one, branding is crystal clear. Number two, it's got a featured image that's big, bold, clear, clean, easy to interpret. And the picture even starts to tell the story, the purpose of the email. It gives you clues. This is called, I call it just a featured image approach. You know, featured image is what they use on blogs and web pages when you share the link. It's the image that pops up. It's the image that represents the social media post. Your emails and your pages of your website too can and should really be built around this concept of featured images. Big, giant, bold, beautiful images that tell a little bit of the story, give a little bit of a hint, or a lot of a hint even, as to the purpose of the content they're looking at before they ever get to the words. Also, you know, the font on this is nice and big, at least in the headlines. The middle could be a little bigger. But let me shift to the actual content, because remember, we want to provide value. Value is the real secret sauce that goes beyond just, oh, I have an email list, I'm sending it, and, you know, roughly about the same number of people are opening it, and you know, so many small businesses, we just get sort of going through the motions, providing that value. So here's the deal: Southside Cycling, they need to sell safety gear to be in business, right? So instead of just putting out another email about a sale on safety gear, you know, that just further disconnects them from people that are just, you know, not interested in hearing it again. Instead, they said, all right, well, what's some content that we can share ahead? What can we lead with that gives people value before we ever worry about asking them for anything? So this is the critical pivot of how can I give them value, create an impression, delight them even, and set the tone. And so what they did is they said, all right, well, if we want to sell safety gear for kids, number one, let's give some bicycle safety tips, of course. And, you know, let's find an image that represents someone on staff working with a parent and a child, getting them all set up. And let's share this blog. And then, of course, afterwards, you know, you're gonna have the products mentioned because you're in business, and it synchronizes with the rest of the email. Something this subtle will put your marketing on a different path. And it creates a sort of association. People see a few emails from you like this. They see a few social media posts from you like this. And the impression is you're one of the good ones. You're one of the fun ones. You're one of the valuable ones. You're one of the interesting ones. You're interesting. You're curious. You're always kind of popping up and just little positive touches and then kind of moving out of their view. So I hope this is making sense. And then one more thing before we get a little deeper. I want you to notice this article in the middle here. One of the things that really scares people to death is this idea that, well, if I have to give people value and I have to send out really great stuff and I have to post all this great stuff online, you know, the next logical assumption is, well, then you have to create all that. And honestly, that's kind of the wet blanket that takes the excitement out of, you know, going through a topic like this, and then you maybe you get a constant contact account, you get a nice email template going, and you're ready to rock, and the cursor sort of just blinking there, and this is the wet blanket, you know, where people are emailing me, Aaron, I don't know what to put in this email. Aaron, I'm not someone who was going to jump on video and make a video. Aaron, I'm not a photographer. Aaron, how, if I'm supposed to give people value and make these emails and these social posts really stand apart, and I'm not naturally inclined just to go out there and create stuff on demand, then you get stuck. So the key to this is understanding, y'all, you can share other people's stuff. Just don't stress yourself out that you're going to jump in this digital marketing approach and create the engagement, and content is the key, and providing value, and then kind of get freaked out that you have to be this blogger or this video queen, or if that freaks you out, just take a step back and understand the internet is overflowing with stuff that is all going wild, that you can cherry pick from, that's relevant to your list, and you simply become the host. So this article in the middle, Southside Cycling's manager did not write that article. They went and found that article, and they curated it into their email. So as we move a little deeper, and I keep talking about, what to send is key. What to send is key. I don't want you to get maybe pulled asunder with this sort of dread of, oh gosh, well, I don't know how to do those kinds of images, or I don't know how to write those kinds of articles. Or you can go find it. And I recommend actually that most small businesses at least get started by getting in the rhythm and the routine of just finding great content and sharing it along. Okay. So, making sure in your digital marketing approach that we're also synchronizing your look and your feel. You want your website and your email and your social banners and your logos to all look good, feel good, and resonate. Now, were some of the things that we talked about not true? There still are other compelling reasons where you really need to be leveraging the power of email marketing. Here's a good checklist of them. Number one, it's easy to build visually beautiful emails with the right system and not have to be a techie. I can speak for Constant Contact, and you'll see here during the demo, it is not built to be technical. It's built to be simple, easy, fast. One of the other key understandings has to do with the law. You spam marketing means, just taking people's email addresses, no matter where you get them, and just putting them on your list and kind of firing off whatever you wish to them. And that's not okay. Email marketing should be an opt-in list of people who know that they're hearing from you and they're cool with it and they're good with it, and they can, critically important, they need to be able to opt themselves out. And so what does that mean? That means having an unsubscribe button built into the bottom of the emails. And if you use a good platform like Constant Contact or a good competitor, it's always going to have that built in for you, where people can opt themselves out of your list. And that satisfies all of the canned spam laws, and you're doing your marketing by the book, and you don't have to worry about anything. And, deliverability, I mentioned the 90% plus deliverability earlier, but I got to tell you that one of my biggest ones in my job as head geek is tracking results. As a small business, there's nothing more valuable than knowing what things we're doing that's working, and what things that we might be doing that's not getting the result we want. The more we can know that, the better we will get, and we will win. But with marketing, especially prior to the internet, it's really unclear, isn't it? We would make a billboard on the side of the highway. We would put a flyer in a paper, send a postcard to zip codes. And unless you had a really nicely, carefully organized, scheme where codes were used during purchases, or which most small businesses don't or didn't back then, pre-internet. What you really do is you do your marketing, and then you all sort of just like cross your fingers and say, all right, and you exhale for a while until you do your next marketing. And then you kind of say, oh, well, was there an uptick in sales? Was there an uptick in foot traffic? Was there more phone calls? And you do your best to kind of piece together whether the marketing was working. Well, what I love about the internet, and email in particular, is that it gives you a report card. It will tell you sent this email to 1,000 people, 30% opened it. Of those 30%, 15% clicked stuff. And then get ready, it to tell you what they clicked and who they are and what their normal engagement rate is and their history of engagement. You can drill in and see all the emails and what they're interested in. And it gives you literally like an open book report card, map. Okay, I'm sending out an email every few weeks or every month. This is stuff I'm sending. What are people engaging? What are they ignoring? Was I right? Was I wrong? What can I do more of? What can I do? And this is the beautiful part, y'all. Over time, it helps you dial in the formula that works for your list, because you're not just sending an email and then wondering. You're sending an email and then reading the report card and saying, okay, this is my guide for the next one. Does that make sense? Please feel free to drop questions in the chat as I go. You're not going to interrupt me. I'm happy to answer as we go too. So don't hesitate. But just moving right along here. Another thing we can't really, disregard is how to grow the list, because sending out an email to whoever's in your database now is one thing. Getting them to open it, getting them good value and engagement, great. But how do you grow this database, getting in front of people and building that list, and then dripping out the emails to them over time? Well, number one, you got to grow your list on your website. The website is your digital home base, front door, of your store, of your business. And what happens is that people come to your website, they click around a little bit, and the average person, like 9.7 out of 10 people do not ever have any intention of making any large decisions, purchasing decisions the first time they're looking at something. And this is also something that I want to make sure that you leave tonight feeling sort of heartened a little bit. In addition to simplifying the internet, we got to understand the reality is that most people, almost no one, finds out about something online, goes and looks at it, clicks around for a minute, gets into decision mode, adds it to the cart, or signs up and subscribes, and checks out all in one motion. Now, it might be helpful for you to hear me say that, because sometimes nobody says it. But y'all, it's actually the total opposite. It's actually only a tiny fraction of people do that. No matter how good the website is, no matter how good you are, no matter how good the branding is, no matter how, because that's not how people operate. The average people go look for stuff, click around, look for answers, and then they kind of pause. So this is what I'm getting at, y'all. People say, and I can see people coming to my website and my Google Analytics report, and then they disappear into the ether, never to be heard from again. How do I talk to those people, Aaron? And I say, well, are you doing any kind of, remarketing campaigns with special tracking pixels and that you can send ads to them? And they look at me and they say, what do you think? And we laugh. And so the answer is that the people who are most critical prospects coming to your website, capturing their email address while they're there is critical to growing your list. and growing a list of relevant people, because generally people are not going to be coming to your website for no reason. Most people, there'll be tire kickers, but most people are going to come to your website, you know, with some sort of level of interest. Maybe the level is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it's a high level of interest. You know, people are in different parts of the soul. They're clicking around, they're looking at stuff. Capturing their email address while they're on the website allows you to continue the sales process stretched out over time. Again, most of the time we have people hitting our website, clicking around a little bit and then clicking off, and we just sort of are sitting there going, gosh darn it, I wish I could grow a list of interested people, or I wish I could get some more leads, or I could get some more action here. And we got to understand that people are not ready to get married. They want to go on a date. So if they come to your website and you sell, you know, a certain service or a product, the best thing you could do is maybe figure out a way to break off a sample version of that, or give a free taste or a download or a portion of, or a, you know, for authors, I like to do, you know, an early release of chapter 1 or whatever. These are called lead magnets. These lead magnets on your website are, you can design these to capture the emails of people who are real, legitimate, relevant new list members. Now, we got to, you know, put our thinking caps on though. It's not just, you know, join our list, join our email list. You know, it's 2021. We got to be a little bit more, have more zing than that. We got to get creative. You know, what do you do? What do you offer? What can you give them a taste of for free? What can you, maybe it is just a coupon code. You know, I work with companies that provide baking supplies and pre-cooked stuff they can, you know, one and done bake. And, you know, we do join the list for 10% off your first order. So maybe it is just straight discount. Let's get purchasing. Or maybe it's chapter 1 of a book that's about to come out, or maybe it's download our free starter guide to X, Y, or Z. And then, you know, maybe your consulting business is the sort of full meal version of that. And then that interests them further. So people are opting in because you're offering something of value. So we're back to the value topic. Value, value, value. Then the email comes to them with exactly what they were expecting when they opted in while they were on your website and before they were ready to buy. And they're delighted. They have this wonderful little miniature quick touch experience. Go to the website, click around, not ready to get married, ready to go on a date. All right. Oh, here's an option for an email opt providing me some value. I'm curious and interested enough to join the list. Now the table is set for the remarketing. You send them something valuable that they're expecting, and then maybe they get your newsletter. Maybe in a few weeks they get a special offer. Maybe they get invited to an event. Maybe they get an interesting video that you send out. That ongoing top of mind, front of mind flow is what causes the sale to occur. Okay, so hopefully, you know, when you grasp that, you start to think, okay, the pressure's not on to be Superman, Superwoman, and just, you know, slam deals for the first time anyone hits your website. That's not a thing. We want to intrigue and interest and provide value to people, so they lean in. They want to hear more, and then provide them that value. That's how you get your email inbox with that 90% deliverability, that high open rate, high click-through rate, engagement rate. And those folks that were in dating mode, they're now ready to get married, ready to buy, ready to sign up. Also, grow your list everywhere else. Events, barcodes, man, QR codes are everywhere now. I'm seeing them at restaurants. I'm scanning them on boxes that come in the mail, scanning them at labels, and they're opening. So I'm scanning them on cars, trucks, and they're opening up, you know, websites and stuff. I'm scanning them on business cards, and they're opening an opt-in to join the email list and download a free sample of XYZ. So, you know, the real answer is grow your list everywhere. Remember, it's all about value. some of these are examples that you all give, so that was cool. Newsletters, announcements, product promotions, fundraisers, sales, events. You can even just send out an email, and the whole purpose is just one piece of content in it that's fun or interesting. And yeah, hey, you know, when I say fun, or maybe you have a business, that's fine. You know, value, intrigue, you know, some sort of valuable, relevant content that's interesting, that synchronizes with what you offer. Like I work with a lot of financial planners, and you know, we're not out there sharing cat videos, of course, but we are trying to find things that are sort of relevant to living life, and you know, more than just here's how to invest. It's, you know, more, you know, lifestyle stuff, what's going on in the market, what's going on in the economy. Just showing that you're sort of a source of relevant information, your information kiosk of valuable stuff that's in your industry. Now, this is, you know, what I was mentioning earlier is when you're sitting down to decide, you know, what kind of stuff to put in your email, what kind of stuff to put on your social, you know, what you send is critical. So we have to understand that about 8 out of 10 of us are not creative on demand. It takes a little bit more energy and effort and some process to even get creative. You know, we might have other skills that come easy. We might be organizational. We might be good at numbers. We might be good with our hands. We might be good with other things we do in our business. You know, only a couple people are just naturally, instantly creative on demand. So understanding to curate content is perfectly great. People are publishing blogs, and they're hoping that a lot of people see the blog. People are sharing stuff on social media or videos online, and they're hoping a lot of views. And, you know, typically that's the same time that you and I might be sitting at our computer a little bit stressed out, wondering what to put. So you just kind of, you know, sidestep all that and learn that curating content is perfectly great. And over here on the right is a good example of an email with a nice big featured image, nice big easy to read font, clear branding, not tons of scrolling to do. So this is called the 80-20 rule. And I can sense that I'm beating a dead horse, but it's just, it should be really this far skewed. Most of the time when I sit down with folks, they show me their emails, and even if the emails like look really good, most of the time they're doing 20% content, 80% promotion. They've got it flipped. And it's, you know, with best intentions, right? But if you flip it to, what can I send out that they will just love? And then also, you know, you're the sidecar, you know, the impression is there. Maybe you have something at the bottom of the email. Maybe you don't. Maybe you wait till the next email. But if you do this every 3 or 4 times, and then your 3rd or 4th or 5th time, you mix back in the promotion, the offers, the special announcements, what you'll see is something interesting. You'll see a lot more people engaging the promotion stuff than before if you just thought of another clever way to reap the promotion all over and over. This is a great example of content marketing too. Not sure if are any real estate agents on tonight. If there is, just put a note in the chat for me. I work with realtors. David Griffin is not one, but this slide is a really great slide. So I always like to use it. With real estate, you know, it's the ultimate lead progression process, isn't it? You know, If you sell t-shirts, you might wake up and see that you got sales overnight. If you sell houses, you're not waking up to a bunch of sales notifications. You're waking up to, at best, people asking questions, wanting to know more, engaging with you, maybe setting up appointments, inquiring about properties. Well, you know, so a real estate agent, if you think about it in terms of content, it's the perfect example of the challenge of setting yourself apart. And what I mean by that is, if anyone on the webinar has ever gone and looked for houses online and put email address in anywhere, you know what occurs next, don't you? It's a feeding frenzy of automatic emails coming from all the systems and all the MLS listings and all the real estate agents who have prepaid to get in on the leads list. And they're all saying something along the lines of, I'm here to help. Let's take a look at this property. Let's get started. And it just sounds, you know, I've done this process 2 times in 10 years, and it just sounds like just a big old party of white noise. It's just everyone doing the same thing. So if you're looking for a house, or you're looking to sell or buy or what have you, and you're out there online and you find someone like David Griffin and you opt in, it's the complete opposite. It's images that look good, feel interesting. It's insight into architecture. It's things about the housing industry and the market. It's things that a buyer or a seller, depending on the scenario, might be curiously biased towards seeing. And then presenting that, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're not standing over in that group of 17 people all screaming the same thing over top of each other. You're standing in this off to the side because you're different. Your branding is simple, clear, and beautiful. Your images are leveraging the vibe. You're giving content they want. And of course, at the bottom, there's a listings because he's in business. Now, if I got this email in the middle of all the other emails, I can tell you, this is what sets you apart. So, you know, make that sort of that's a really extreme example, you know, with real estate being such a different industry, but think in terms of, if everyone you were competing with was out there, was doing the same thing, what would it look like? And then that's your kind of reverse roadmap to not do that and get creative about how to present yourself a little bit or a lot differently even. You know, images really are the driver and the language. So what I like to do is maybe come up with a main point, maybe sketch it out words, then find a picture that starts to tell the story, and then do the headline, and then the text that comes later. Also understanding that buttons, calls to actions and buttons are what get most engagement. It's really kind of remarkable. But you can send an email with everything the same, except maybe, you know, the first has just it sort of just explains the, you know, the content, and it sort of trails off. Maybe there's a link to the website in the footer, and then maybe on a second version of that email, it's exactly the same, except the ending has a specific command. Click below to get started now and book your free yoga class. By the way, this slide is not what I'm talking about, so that's just bad timing. So, and then a button that says book now, get started now, you know, check schedule now. That version with the call to action written out clearly and cleanly, and an accompanying action button for them to drop their thumb on and touch. You wouldn't believe it, folks. I mean, it's like 500% more engagement when you have that. It's off the charts. And you wouldn't think that would be the case, because, you know, we're all reading, we're all intelligent, we all understand what we're looking at. If we want to take an action, we know how to take an action. But see, we're looking at things in short bursts on small mobile devices in quick sessions. And so when we see a piece of content and we are then told what the next step is, and we're given a button to take that step. It's like taking someone down a very simple, direct hallway. This is next, this is next, this is next. Versus if we're scanning something and we kind of look at it, we kind of read it, and then it doesn't give us any clear action, and then, you know, maybe someone yells that our coffee's ready and we kind of get distracted. That person could have been a prospect. But just that very subtle leaving off of the call to action and the button knocks the knees out of it. Okay, so keep it simple. Large font is best. Less text is more. Single column is best. Call to action are best. Here's some good examples of emails. Here's an app that I use for some financial stuff. And I don't know if I've ever gotten an email longer than this. Here's another one from a different company, same approach. Here's a company that gives me my propane. How beautiful is this email? I mean, I just want to sit in front of that fire right now, even though it's summer. I really just want the marshmallows in the cup, but you know, the fire looks nice too. But this company, Blossman, now I do realize this is a sales email, but I wanted you to see the image. But this company, Blossman, they're out of control with their valuable emails. They send me recipes, y'all. They send me stuff about grilling. They send me stuff about homemaking. They send me holiday wishes. They send me happy birthday. I mean, I don't know how a propane company, I don't know who they hired to help them create this content strategy, but I literally push a button on my app. Somebody comes to my house, they fill up my propane, they leave. I get a notification that this is my bill due. I click to pay it. I speak to no one. And yet I'm getting these incredible emails with holiday recipes and tips about the outdoor, you know, events coming up for the summer, and all these things that you would think, oh, well, if you're just going to service propane, you really need to. No, they have found a way. This is a cool pet company that has really short, quick emails with one featured video. Even Apple does it with their newsletter. They do single columns. Let me show you some more. Some that I've collected recently. And then I'm going to actually get into Constant Contact here in a minute and show you all the email builder and some special things in there that I like, that I think you'll enjoy. Okay, here we go. Okay. So here's another email from Blossman. I mean, am I wrong? I can totally picture a propane company owner going, oh, we don't do that email stuff. But no. How about, this is a great art gallery in Asheville that I opted into. And they sent me sort of this, it's a little long, but they sent me like a digest of who's presenting in their gallery so that I could click through to what interests me. Even Blue Ridge Mall over here in Asheville sends out Constant Contact emails with these short, quick bursts. Here's Blossman again, making sure I know how to do Easter eggs. Here's a local church and charity. And I just think their emails are super sweet. Let's see. Here's a score email that I got that I saved that I really liked. Here's one of my clients. You know, typically, and you don't have to do one topic emails, but one topic emails typically perform best. They get the most engagement. 2-topic emails get the next most engagement. 3-topic emails get the next. I'm sure you can figure out from there. Now, that's not to say if you're getting a nice open on your newsletters that you should stop sending out longer emails, because a lot of times people are used to that. If you've already been doing it and you get lots of good open rates, you know, a lot of chambers of commerce, nonprofits, you know, sometimes you have a lot you have to send out. People are expecting it, right? So, you know, obviously use a little dab of salt when deciding to shorten your emails. Here's one of my favorites. This financial company came to my boot camp in Hendersonville, and these 2 guys were so much fun. They sat in the front, and they just didn't know what they were going to do with marketing. And they took notes, and they were kind of quiet, and they asked a few questions, and then they signed up for Constant Contact, and they kind of went off on their own path. And every once in a while I'd get a little email here or there, and it was sort of a financial article, and it, you know, it was kind of a little dry. And then out of nowhere, I don't know what happened, but they started sending out these super fun, different spins on topics. And this was my favorite. They made a retro playlist, a mixtape with topics and songs they liked, and then topics, and then questions. And they're prepping a YouTube playlist for things they can answer, questions they can answer for people about their capital investment industry, business rather. So, you know, you can see here, like no one's off the hook, right? If you just put a little bit of time and energy and thought into it, you absolutely, no matter what your business or nonprofit is, can find a way. You know, the minute I started flirting around with a beach house, you know, these rental companies are sending me, you know, blog after blog telling me, hey, we know the places to go. Stay, you know, we are so the right company for you for your beach house, because we know everything. And by the way, Maureen, here's those horses we're talking about. All right. So what is a good open rate? Well, 30% is fantastic. In 2021, 30% is fantastic. I'm going to show you a tip in the demo here in a second that will help you get a lot more open rates. But right now, the average open rate is 18%. Across all industries mixed together, the average open rate is 18%. What I like to do is I really want folks to strive for 30%. So maybe your first goal is get to 25, then get to 30. I've got one B out here in Brevard, bed and breakfast, that has a 54 open rate, and we love it because we know the stuff people want. You know, the average click rate is about 10%. So of those of you who are doing email marketing, jump in chat if you don't mind, and just, if you're curious, I'm curious if you don't mind, you know, what kind of open rates and click rates do you get if you know. You know, and getting the email open, 24%. Luciana, I hope I'm saying them right. Don't slap me if I'm not. 24% is great. You're 6% over the average already. So maybe your next goal is to get that up to 30%. Well, how do you do it? One thing is your subject line. Your subject line is that moment where, you know, the average person looks at their inbox and they see this. They see bolded emails flowing in eternally. You know, every hour, more emails crushing through. They're all bolded. And what happens is we go into this we glance at our inbox and we sort of scan for what we're curious about that would make us want to open it right then. Now, here's a little tip. The average person will not ever go back to their past inbox and search for emails they didn't open the first time. If they don't open it the first time, the probability is extremely high that it's going to move down far enough down the page that they probably will not even remember that they didn't open it. They'll just scan it, look at it, not open it, and move on. Okay, so the subject line is that crucial moment. What they're scanning for is who it's from, and then what the subject line is. And then even more, the lines underneath the subject line. So tips and tricks to getting your emails open. Number one, be unpredictable. If you ask a question in your subject line, you will get huge open rates. If you start a thought and don't really make it clear exactly what you're talking about, but you create a little bit of intrigue, you will get much bigger open rates. If you kind of break the mold from feeling that it needs to be this official explanation of the email and just have a little bit more fun with it, a little bit more curious approach, folks will click. Remember, the goal is just to get them to open it. And then once they've opened it, they're scanning it and they're moving into the engagement period there, where they're moving through the actual email itself. So let's show you Constant Contact and some examples here. Make sure this is still, can you still see my screen okay, Maureen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thanks. So this is what Constant Contact looks like. And Constant Contact is really pretty much the flagship, email marketing provider for small businesses in the US. Been around for about 25 years. And their entire philosophy when building the system was that websites, everybody had a website, and everybody was sort of thinking, well, what happens next? No one's buying right away. Well, we don't want to wait around for them to come back to the website. We want to be able to talk to them when we want to. So email became a thing. So what we were doing is we were all sending out text-based, like bulk email, Google bulk email to, 500 addresses, 2,000 addresses, and we were just blasting out text emails. This went on for a few years. And of course, the canned spam stuff started with, well, hold on, we need to be able to track, people need to want to hear from you. And also the desire for emails to be visually beautiful and be graphical. And this is why email marketing as a platform was born. And so Constant Contact was sort of the one that kind of pioneered that. And their whole approach was, let's create an email marketing builder that's not technical, so that, because the average small business owner is not just, magically technical for no reason, so we want it to be as intuitive as we could make it, and as simple as we could make it, and as easy as we could make it. So Anita's got a question. Are there other apps you would recommend for small businesses to use for email marketing? There might be a couple. I have to use at any given time for the clients I work with. I have my hands on about 5 or 6 different companies. So happy to review those too. But let me just jump into the demo so I don't get too long-winded. So when you log into Constant Contact, you'll see sort of recent emails, recent drafts, recently sent emails. And you can come in here and you can click Create an Email. And you can see here that they've created a huge gallery of templates. Now, some of these are sort of like just, ghost shadow templates that have spots and formatting and arrangements for you to click into and change. Here's some text focused emails. There's some more right here, kind of giving you an idea for layout, where you might want to put pictures, just kind of a paint by numbers type approach, where you can just start with it and then edit it and add your text, add your videos and your images. But then you've also got stuff that's holiday related, calendar related, industry related, and boy, do they have it all. Almost too much. It just goes on different industries, but it can be very helpful for a small business or a nonprofit who's really not there yet with their digital marketing, but they want to get into communication mode. What you do is you can get into some of these that are for different industries and they're pre-cooked. You just change out some things. Oh, look at these doggies. You know, so tons of options, and you can go further and further and get all through all the holidays. I mean, it's just so much. But that leads me to my third option, which is the most fun. So if you watch my cursor, you'll see me click brand templates. And y'all, you can actually put your website in here and just hit enter. Check this out. And they just added this feature a couple of years ago. And when they showed it to you, they thought I was going to be really excited. And I said, you're going to take my job away as a digital marketer. And they laughed. But what it does is it essentially reads your email. Read your website rather. And it copies exactly your branding colors. And look over here on the left, it gives you some ideas for, and you're ready to rock. I mean, that's it. I use this one in one of my clients' accounts. They do tours to Iceland. And so we have this big magazine email of all the different tours that people can click into. Yeah, it is pretty cool, isn't it, Anita? So let's choose this, just to keep it simple. I'm going to hit continue. And what I really love about Constant Contact is it's just one screen. There's nothing to get lost in. There's no side panels popping all over the place. There's no additional editing. Everything happens here on one screen. And so, you know, one thing to notice is, look, it noticed that I forgot to name my email. So in the top left, it time and date stamped it for me, like, you know, just as a helpful thing. But you can name this. And this is just what you would see, not the recipient. And if you watch my cursor, what I love about the system too is it's intuitive. So when I'm moving my cursor among the different sections, it might be hard to see if you're on a small screen, but you can see the sort of outline pops out. And this is telling you that you're floating over a certain section or an element. And if you were to click, you'd go right into edit mode within that section. So if I clicked here, boom. If I clicked here, I'm right into edit mode. It's just what you see is what you get approach to an editor. So things are done in real time. There's no extra step to preview. And let me sort of take you on a tour. On the very top, if I click in the very top middle, this is where we do the subject line. Now, as I go through, I'm going to give you all my most juicy tips. Number one, on the far right, you can have their name appear in the subject line. This will increase your open rate hugely. Boom. Number two, you can add emoticons. If this fits your business, cool. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. But the truth is the truth, and people like this stuff. So you can have fun with it. I can't tell you how many times I used the ghost on my Halloween emails last fall, but you can do however you want. Now, under here is the additional lines of text. Remember on this, I showed how the whole thing is customizable, including under the subject line. This is another one of my juiciest tips. Right here, you have up to 2 or 3 additional lines to customize that they see in the preview pane of their inbox. So that's going to mean this whole preview inbox experience is customizable, okay? So there we go up top. Moving down here, you can click on and stretch and replace logo. let's replace this. It's going to have any image you've ever into your constant contact account saved there. If you want to use a picture that you don't have in the email, you can click upload file upper right. And let's see. There we go. Insert. That's not me, of course, but just wanted you to see how to change a picture, how to upload one. Maybe, and always make your pictures linked to things. People sort of assume on mobile devices that your images link to what the thing you're talking about. So, you know, link it to your art, link it to your web page, link it to what makes sense. Change your font size. You can highlight text and make it into a link. Copy, paste, done. There it is. Your buttons, you can add a link to whatever you want. Now, check out the top left here. These 5 are what people spend about 80 or 90% of their time on constant contact working with. So let me show you how to add. This is all about clicking and holding and dragging and dropping. Okay. So we are literally just building this thing romper room style, just click and drop, nothing technical. Dividers. Now, spacer's really important. You can click and hold that little bar and make as much space as you want. And then there's more. There's, you know, social media buttons that are pre-cooked. You just click on those and click edit. You can, over on the left here, you can copy and paste in your networks, delete some, add one other if you're on it. Up to you. And video. Video is the #1 most engaged thing on any format or any forum. So whether it's websites, social media, or emails, video gets the most engagement, period. This actually lets you just copy and paste your link in. And it does it pre-fills. Wow. So there it is. Done. Now in the top, you're going to notice it saves every few minutes. So you're never going to lose your work. You can also click save, but then check this out. Undo, 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 redo, redo, redo. So, you know, you really, you can do this without any stress. You can build what you think you might like, and you can back yourself right on out of it. Pretty sweet. In the bottom left, you can add whole pre-cooked blocks. And you might notice this purple highlight is sort of telling you, you know, where, if you release your cursor, where it will drop. There we go. Maybe I want a 2-column. There we go. Maybe I want a pre-cooked coupon. Work's done for you. Now just change the text and the link. Undo. And this bottom one's cool too. If you wanted to add the links that are on your header of your website, this pre-cooked block lets you go in and you can, mimic your text links if you want to do a little miniature website menu here. That's pre-cooked too. In the top right, you've got a really nice check for errors. Oh man, I'm getting an F. Look at this. That's just because I added a bunch of sections. So let's remove those. And you'll watch this report card on the right fix itself. Because it was telling me, hey, you've got sections in here you haven't updated. There's placeholder text. Hey, you haven't added a link where you should add a link. See that? It tells me my button's missing a link. And when I click it, it's me there. So this is totally like bumper bowling. I mean, you really, if you click check for errors, you can't mess up. You just fix this until look at that. No issues. Great job. Good to go. You can preview the email. And even clicks, where you can test it. Check this out. In the top left, you can look at it on a mobile device. Yeah. And you can actually send a test to up to 5 people by putting their addresses here and adding a note that appears at the top. And it's sort of a pretend email to just a group for without actually sending it. Now, if you hit continue, you're going to go on to the send screen, and I want to show you a couple of things. I know we only have 3 minutes, so we'll wrap up quick, but feel free to type your questions into the chat, by the way. I've been keeping an eye on that for any new questions. When you get to the send screen, here's one of my juiciest tips. Over here on the left, you can actually use, it'll ask you, do you want to send it to your whole list? Do you want to send it to your sub lists? Who do you want to send it to? Let you check your subject line. But in the upper right, you can send it now or you can schedule it for later. But look right here. This is my juiciest tip of the night. By clicking this, you can schedule an automatic resend of the email that goes only to the people that didn't open it the first time. This will pop your open rates way back up, because what happens is that we're getting too many emails in 2021. And so even people that do actually want to hear from you inadvertently miss your email the first time. So this automatic resend to non-openers scoops tons more openers back up, and it doesn't bother the people that looked at it the first time. So be sure to check that, add 3 or 4 days to it. You can customize the subject line to be cute. There you go. Question, is there a best time to send emails? Well, there used to be a good time to send emails in the mid-2000s, and then mobile devices took over. So what I typically tell people to do is I typically tell people to divide their list up and send an email to maybe three sections of their list on different days of the week, and then read the reports. And the reports will compare the emails and tell you which one got the higher open rate. And then from there, you can actually pivot to, okay, well, if we know that Wednesday is better than Monday or Friday, then what time? And you can do a morning, an afternoon, and an evening, and the reports will let you compare, and they'll give you the numbers here. And then you just keep going with that. So because of mobile devices, everyone's list is made up of all these different individuals that are always on the go. And so I just recommend split testing your list and letting the report tell you when. Anita also wanted to know, is there a better any other apps that you recommend for email marketing? If you're technically a little more technically inclined, MailChimp seems to be popular. I have to use it for a few businesses. I find it to be better for more difficult stuff like e-commerce and a lot of technical integration setups, but I find it less easy to use, much harder to use for the average small business. And then you've got other companies like iContact, Ella, Infusionsoft, but I wouldn't actually recommend most of those because they're a little more difficult to use. Well, with that, I want to wrap up the demo, and Anita wants to know the cost of Constant Contact. And by the way, you can add people to your database by uploading from files, connecting it to your address book, typing in, pasting in. And when I went on that little rant earlier about building your list from your website, Constant Contact does integrate with your website and allows you to build forms and pop-ups and email captures that put people right into your list automatically. So to answer your question, Anita, there's a special pricing offer that exists because of the SCORE and Constant Contact relationship. Typically, Constant Contact is $20 a month, but you actually have 25% off with a SCORE discount that I obtain for you. But we also have some other businesses. We have a free branded email template. So it's even more than the one you just saw me create where it sort of read my website. We actually have a design team go into your Constant Contact account and create a hand-created brand matched website email template for free. That typically costs a few $100s, but we do that free for anyone who signs up from SCORE. We also get a free coaching session with me on Zoom. We can cover and work together on your email marketing, send your first email, one-on-one, and you can also ask me any other marketing questions that you want. And then last but not least, finally, just want to mention that right before the COVID, Constant Contact was about to launch their drag and drop website builder. And it was going to be about $30 a month and, you know, e-commerce and all those stuff. And as soon as COVID hit, 2 weeks into that, they just said, you know, we're just going to make this available to everyone, every small business and nonprofit for free. Inside of all Constant Contact accounts is hidden a full-blown website builder, landing page builder, and e-commerce builder. Even has a booking system. All those little goodies are tucked in there for free at no cost. So to get this, you just simply fill out this form, claim event promo. If you have a Constant Contact account you're into, you can just indicate that on the form. And so, you know, total outlay would be $15, no contracts, no commitments, and all the bonuses will come free. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass it back to you, Maureen. I'm going to stick around for any additional questions. And I really appreciate everyone sticking with me through the 4.5. You all have been great.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron. Wow, what a plethora of information. Gosh, I learned a lot, especially since I use Constant Contact. I am very excited to apply some of the things that you've mentioned today. So if there's any last questions, please do put them in the chat and we'll have him answer it. And then I believe I have a survey. Maybe not. Doesn't look like it's set up. Never mind. We appreciate you attending tonight. Thank you, Aaron. For further information on SCORE, you can go to PiedmontScore.org, and Aaron's going to provide the slides from tonight, and I will send that out to everybody's email when I get them.
You got it. And don't be confused, you all, if you see SBC, because SBC, the Small Business Center Network, and SCORE are both, they are both the national partners with Constant Contact. So here's a link to the landing page. I'm going to drop this in too for this is the claim event promo. This will forward to you all to the right page. And then you can have this, gosh, I'm having trouble getting this to type. Copy. and paste. Anyway, you get it. For some reason, my keyboard won't work. But if anyone has questions not related to any of this, don't hesitate to reach out to me about marketing questions. On my website, when you go there, you'll see this. And in the bottom right, a little widget will come up. And the door is always open. I love working with SCORE and no strings attached. If you have any marketing questions, you can get in touch with me right through my website anytime. All right.
Cool. Well, thank you, Aaron. We appreciate it so much, and wish everybody all their best with their businesses, and look forward to all your future emails. Those subject lines are going to just catch us all now that we've learned how to do that. So thank you. Thank you.